Hello, and welcome back to Saturday Cartoon Reviews. I apologize I haven't done this in a while. I was going to try to make this a weekly thing, but that didn't go so well. Anyways, we'll just get started, because last time, of course, we had Earwig and the Witch, aka the animated film that's somehow worsely animated than the Grubhub commercial. The story was so confusing it made me want to merge without looking. Now, anyway, let's get started into the review. So, Tom and Jerry. Now, most live-action hybrid animations usually aren't very good, though Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog are exceptions. But anyway, Tom and Jerry. So the animation on Tom and Jerry looks great. Way better than what I saw in promotional art. So basically, the film opens up with Tom and Jerry in New York. But funny enough, the scene where Tom and Jerry shake hands and getting hit by a bus, you know the scene at the beginning of the trailer? Yeah, that's not in this movie. I was shocked to not see it there, considering that it seemed like a pretty important scene. Anyway, the opening sequence was cool. The pigeons, they are fine, but it felt like filler at best. Tom and Jerry in New York was cool to see, with Tom playing the piano and Jerry dancing somehow turns into a fight. It does have slow pacing at the beginning, then it goes faster and back to slow. My thoughts are really all over the place for this movie, to be honest, but at least the CGI doesn't look like the Smurfs. Tom later runs into Kayla, a girl who's looking for a job, eventually landing herself in the Royal Gate Hotel, after she got fired thanks to Tom. Kayla then tricks a woman who wants to get hired for the hotel's biggest event, a wedding between a famous couple. Kayla takes the resume she has and rips off the part with the lady's first name to get the job. Dubroz hires her, but the main antagonist, Terrence, doesn't like the idea of her hiring because she's stupid. Terrence is the event manager and the wedding planner in the movie. The couple, Ben and Prita, then are welcomed by Kayla and Terrence. Now, Terrence throughout the movie is pretty much a dick to mostly Kayla, simply because he doesn't like her. Now, Jerry manages to stay inside the hotel in a small room. Also, Jerry runs around the hotel freaking out the chefs, so Kayla is tasked to get rid of Jerry, but doesn't succeed. She then hires Tom to take care of Jerry, which leads to another issue. Jerry stole the bride's ring. Kayla offers Jerry to live at the hotel if she gets the ring back. And of course, disaster strikes at the hotel when Terrence is suspicious of Kayla for having Jerry in her pocket. Which she did, but Terrence ends up causing a lot of the hotel's destruction and gets fired for it. Honestly, I wanted more action in this movie. I am glad old characters like Spike return for this, and Butch too, but the action I wanted more of. I also wanted more of Terrence, and I wanted him to completely attempt to screw over Tom, Jerry, and Caleb, and then get defeated. After the disaster, however, Kayla tries to convince Tom and Jerry to leave the hotel because of the wedding happening. The film does its best to stay faithful as it can, but personally, I want to see more of Tom and Jerry's origin on how they met as well. The wedding party happens the same day Tom and Jerry are sent to the pound by animal control, where Tom is pressured to eat Jerry, which doesn't happen. Terrence comes to the pound in an attempt to manipulate Tom and Jerry and lie to them about them saying things to each other. The wedding happens and chaos strikes when the wedding is ruined because of the setup made by Terrence. Now, this scene wasn't offensive to me, but it did piss me off. It's not the worst thing ever, because of everything that happened so quickly. Kayla runs into Cameron. I think that's what his name was, an employee at the hotel who complimented Kayla throughout the movie, even offering to help catch Jerry. Kayla then sees Tom and Jerry and gets mad at them for ruining the wedding. The three set aside their differences in an attempt to save the wedding. Terrence even complies, despite him being a jerk for most of the movie, and helps with the wedding at Central Park. And the wedding is back on, and everything gets resolved. Now, I explained the plot, but what did I think of the movie? I thought it was alright. It was decent at best, average at worst, so not that bad. Rotten Tomatoes critics seem to be overreacting, in my opinion. It's not a bad movie. Not the best thing ever, but still. Most of what I said I liked in the movie, but allow me to go over my issues with it. So like I said before, the pacing being all over the place being my number one issue with it. Like, it doesn't know how fast it goes, but it's Tom and Jerry. What do you expect? Another thing I wanted was like a final battle with Terrence, where he thinks the wedding is a bad idea but pretends to be cool with it. I want to see him try to ruin the wedding in an attempt to completely screw over Tom, Jerry, and Kayla. I feel like he should have received more consequences in the movie, but that might be me. Yes, there is some Twilight humor in the movie, but it doesn't even affect the overall film. It isn't funny, but it's certainly no Teen Titans Go. Some pop culture references were fine, but some just felt placed in there. The scene where they mentioned TikTok and other social media sites honestly made sense for that particular scene. Well, for the most part, the other references not really suitable for a film like this, to be honest. And of course, the scene where the wedding is called off pissed me off because it felt so forced in some aspects. But I liked mostly everything else during the movie. Certainly a mass improvement from the 1992 film. The movie does stay true. Sometimes it doesn't, but it stays as faithful as it can to its source material. And honestly, it's a funny movie. I recommend this to Tom and Jerry fans. I'm sure you'd enjoy it less if you weren't one. Maybe that's me, I don't know. And I think that's all that needs to really be said. Did you enjoy Tom and Jerry? Or nah? I would love to know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.